Hello everybody. And last night I tackled a project I'd been putting off for a long time. I restarted and sorted all the shrimp in my 75-gallon red shrimp tank. And let me tell you, it did not go as planned. I was going to video my progress all along the way, but it ended up being a bigger job than I thought, and there's some difficulties. Like, the plan was to tear it all down last night and leave just the shrimp in there, tear everything out, catch all the plecos, because this tank was a 75-gallon shrimp and pleco farm. I had hundreds of plecos in here. Well, maybe not hundreds anymore, but I used to sell tons and tons of albino and chocolate bristlenose plecos out of this tank. But that has stopped. I was doing wholesale, and now that person's not selling plecos anymore. So I have a whole bunch of plecos, nowhere to go. I put them in my guppy pond is what I did. So let's take a look. Like I said, I planned on doing a whole long video updating all the progress and stuff, but I'll just gonna have to show you what I did. And I have to give a huge shout out to my beautiful, lovely wife, Brandy. She helped me a whole bunch. She rinsed the substrate out because I took all the substrate out, put the new substrate in. She helped me catch some plecos. So while I was sorting shrimp, she really helped me because the whole plan was to get all the plants and rocks and stuff out last night, and then catch the shrimp and spend all day sorting shrimp, catching shrimp and sorting shrimp. Today was the plan, but that didn't go, and I'll explain to you later. And this is pretty much what this tank has looked like for years. In fact, when I started all this, I'm going to have all these tanks, started watching YouTube fish videos and all this. I was like, I'm going to breed guppies and endlers, and I set this tank up. This is like my show tank, and it was first originally intended to breed rainbow tiger endlers from Lucas Brett's. That's what was in here. I used to have hundreds and hundreds in here. Then I put some shrimp in here. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then I realized you take the endlers out, you get even more shrimp. And that's even more awesome. And then I started selling plecos, trying to breed plecos. And bottom line is the substrate and rocks in here have been left completely undisturbed other than plecos digging, which that's why the tank was always cloudy, because there's 4 inches of sand in here and the plecos dug and always messed it all up. So my goal with redoing this tank was to make it more conducive to breeding shrimp. And again, that comes back to sorting shrimp and getting out the bad ones. And when you got all this rock work, all these big plants and thick substrate and plecos digging and 5 years worth of dead snail shells, it just made my red shrimp weren't quite where I wanted them. I did a coal video a few weeks back where I was trying to catch out lots and told you guys it'd be a series of culls. It'd be over and over and over again. But it was just too hard to get all these bad ones out. So I had to do something. And this is what I did. Reset this tank. Now, well, you'll see here in a little bit. So 5 years ago, set up to breed endlers and put shrimp in there. I guess you call it a show tank or whatever, is one of my best looking shrimp. And here it is. I made a time-lapse video of ripping everything out. And when you pull up that moss, when there's a bunch of plecos like this, it's just mud underneath there. So there's that. The goal, like I said before, the goal was to rip all this out and catch them out. But it was just too hard to catch those plecos without getting 1,000 shrimp in the net, which you'll see here soon as well. So then you dig it all up and it goes the complete crap. Just these plecos always digging and stirring stuff up. Here it is, and you'll see you try to catch these plecos, and everyone knows plecos are super hard to catch. And this is how many shrimp we were dealing with. Not all of them ended up going back in the tank. Say about half went back in the tank. And then of the other half, I'd say 80% went into another tank to be, I'm going to sell those as cherries. So what I was doing when I was sorting them out, if I'd get a whole big scoop of them, probably 100 shrimp in a scoop. If there's a lot of good ones, if there's only a few bad ones, I'd scoop. Here's my lovely wife, and you can see what we're dealing with here. And this was after I got 80% of the shrimp out. They're still, just trying to catch that pleco, there's still 15, 20 shrimp just in trying to catch that pleco. So after we got all the plecos out, and then here's the finished product. After we got the plecos out, I was up till 3 in the morning sorting shrimp and putting everything back together. I started this project probably about 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And now, so when I was calling, I put them all in a 5-gallon bucket, all the shrimp I could catch. I did get, there's probably only like 20 shrimp left in there after, because I tore out all the substrate, replaced it with brand new blasting sand that was only just barely enough to cover the bottom glass. So I'm not going to be able to have like rooted plants in here now, but that's okay, because this is more, instead of trying to have a nice looking show tank, I'm trying to have a shrimp tank that will hopefully end up looking nice. It don't look too bad. But like I said, 50% probably went back in here, and then most of those went to the other tank, my super red pleco tank, and what was left of my orange shrimp, but they quit breeding for whatever reason, except for, and then some oddball shrimp got in there doing water changes, and there's only a handful of shrimp in there. So I just put all those out to catch them yellow ones that are left out, but I just threw all the other ones in there, and then some of them went to the Skittles tank, the call tank, because what I was doing, the groups who only had a few bad ones in there, I'd pick out the bad ones, and those went to the Skittles tank, and then I'd dump all the rest back into the 75-gallon. And then the ones that had lots of lower quality reds, I would just pick out the very, very best, put in here, and all of those would go into the new cherry shrimp tank with the yellows and super red plecos. But yeah, here's some close-ups of the shrimp. Still not completely perfect, but I figured I got it way, 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 way better than it was. And there's no way you're going to keep a complete fire red tank in a 75-gallon. So I'm going to have, in the future, these will still be my Sakuras. Then in my 20-gallon will be the fire reds, and then the other third tank will be cherry. So I'll have all 3 grades of cherries going on the website here in a little bit. So I'm waiting for these new tanks to get established. I guess I could call this a new tank now. Now I didn't mess with any of the filters, the pre-filters or any of the filters in there. I kept them wet. So the cycle's still good. So we ain't got to worry about that. I guess in the end, I set this tank up 5 years ago when my goal was to breed guppies and endlers, and then it turned into endlers and shrimp. And then it turned into shrimp and plecos, and now it's just shrimp. There is one pleco I kept in here. I have it. Valley Fish, my buddy Jeff, he sent me probably a year or two ago a long fin albino pleco, and it ended up being a male, and he's going to be the pleco of the house here. He's just going to be there to eat leftover food and to keep the glass clean. And now I don't have a whole horde of these great big catfish monsters eating and pooping everywhere. So now this tank will be, oops, don't know how I got my face in there. Anyway, this is where the other reds come to live. So thank you guys for watching. Hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. Bye.